Hello, welcome to Nurse Stories Live. I'm Taylor Hayes Carroll, and today we have the pleasure of being with Amanda Rodrigo. She's got an amazing story to share with us. She's got a lot of really cool stuff to share about plant medicine and her life in Peru and her nursing experience. So I can't wait to hear all about what she has to share with us. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being you and starting the International Association of Psychedelic Nurses. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. So we have so much to cover in such a short amount of time. I feel like we could talk for days with you, but we want to value your time and just get straight to it. So could you share with us what called you into nursing and how you became a nurse?
Sure. Probably the same thing that brought you into nursing, Taylor, and many nurses out there is that I'm an extremely empathetic person. I have this huge heart and huge desire to help others. And it felt really aligned to get into a professional field of helping others, just as I'm sure it does for most of the nurses out there.
Awesome. So what kind of nursing did you start with, or where did you go to nursing school? Can you tell us about your nursing school process?
I mostly worked in the field psychiatric. So I worked in chemical dependency, inpatient psychiatric um, area of the hospital, and I was in there for 10 years.
Wow, 10 years in what state? This was in the United States, right?
This was in the United States. Yes, I'm from Chicago, Chi-Town, baby.
Okay. All right. That must have been a very busy job, right?
Extremely.
Working
Yes.
with all kinds of different populations or different types of people.
Hmm.
So,
Oh, yeah.
do you have any stories from your time working as like a regular nurse from what you do now, regular nurse,
Uh-huh.
that made you want to leave the healthcare system, or what kind of happened to stimulate your move?
Hmm. Well, I left the healthcare system primarily for two pillars. One is professionally, and one is personally. That I really observed the limitations that are holding us so tightly and limiting us inside the healthcare system. And it really appears to be secondary to the large influence that the multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry has on the treatment planning and the treatments that are available to the patients, and as well, secondary to the healthcare insurance sector that appears to be sometimes gatekeeping the most effective interventions for patients, but promoting sometimes significantly less effective interventions for patients. And it really appears to be secondary to the profit model that will come through their partnership with the pharmaceutical industry. So that's what I observed professionally. And I'll tell a short story from my professional and then pivot into my personal experiences. So, when I was working as a nurse in the hospital system, I was considered a rising leader and I was promoted like very young, very quickly. And I found myself as the youngest nurse manager in the history of the largest healthcare corporation in the United States. So I was managing the inpatient adult psychiatric wing of a hospital. And underneath that falls the chemical dependency unit. And this is where we are medically detoxing patients off of alcohol, which is legal, pharmaceuticals, which have been prescribed to them, typically benzodiazepines or opiates. Side note, benzodiazepines are actually the most prescribed to and detoxed off of substance in the psychiatric field, which means they found a way to profit off of putting them on and taking them off. Food for thought. And opiates. So we were detoxing off of those substances. And one time I threw a pizza party for my staff because 20% of our inpatient detoxification population did not relapse within the first year of their detox treatment. I look back at that now from where I am in the consciousness that I operate with now. And for me, it seems quite evident and obvious that 20% success rate is not something to throw a pizza party off of. 20% success rate is an F-ing minus, okay? This is clear evidence and indication that our current interventions are not effective. They are outdated. They are requiring reassessment. But the indoctrination from where I was telling me and taught me that addicts are an addict for life, that some people don't want to heal, or that some people are unhealable, which now I call bullshit. That's not the reality that I live in, and that is not how I operate. So, this was a really big eye opening event in my professional career that led to my awareness of the limitations of working within the healthcare system. Now, personally, I will share with you vulnerably, like from human to human, that I myself, I experienced a significant sexual trauma in my life during that time period where I was working as a nurse in the healthcare system. And I found myself very sick and seeking services. So, what this looked like for me was that I was experiencing disassociation, flashbacks, nightmares, compulsive ruminations, compulsive behaviors, such as pacing for hours at a time, late into the night, unable to stop, insomnia, tachycardia, vomiting. I was losing weight. So I found I was having a really hard time to function and maintain my responsibilities in life. So I found myself seeking services the way that I knew how, the way that I was taught that this is what seeking services is. And I found myself inside a psychiatric office. And shortly after working with this practitioner, I found myself polydrugged on multiple pharmaceutical substances, over half which were controlled substances. And that was a really big shift for me because I'd never taken any pills up to this point in my life. And now I'm taking a handful of pills in the morning, a handful of pills in the afternoon, and a handful of pills in the evening. And I'm a sensitive person, so I experienced all of the side effects. And I'm like, I know that one of these pills is making me grind my teeth, and one of these pills is taking away my appetite, and one of these pills is giving me the headache, and one of these pills is giving me the body aches. But I don't know which one. But like, I think it might be this one. So I'm just going to stop taking it for this one day. And when I did that, like process of elimination, I experienced withdrawal. And this was really scary for me to learn that, first of all, I'm a traumatized person who needs healing in my brain. And second of all, now I have a physical dependency problem, as I am physically dependent upon an external substance. And I'm a chemical dependency nurse, like assessing myself and coming to the realization that I have a physical dependency problem. So, I mean, clearly this isn't working. This treatment plan is not effective and it requires reassessment. So I went to work and I did some research and I put together a new treatment plan. And I wrote this very well worded letter for my psychiatrist. I was very proud of it, that was endorsing my desire to slowly taper off of the pharmaceutical medicines, to slowly increase my internal coping mechanisms, learning how to manage my emotions through the breath. Keep in mind, this was several years ago before breath work was like trending or even well heard of. And that I was really curious on this research on psychedelics and how to use those. So I wrote this out and I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go put myself in a breathwork course and put myself in a psychedelic therapy course. And I printed it out and I signed it and I brought it into my psychiatrist's office thinking that for sure he was going to recognize me as like a professional colleague, you know, and respect this letter and support me. And I sat in the office and I presented the letter to my psychiatrist. He left the office to get his two medical students, bring them into the office so that all three of them could laugh at me together. Why are nurses like this? What? You're breaking your pills in half? Why would you do that? Just take it as it's prescribed. No one manages their emotions through the breath. That, why are nurses like this? They laughed at me. They kind of ridiculed me. And I left that meeting like extremely distressed and tearful. And I asked them in this meeting, how long must I stay on pills? They said, for the rest of your life. No room for advocacy. So why do you tax my damn self? Hey, R&B is and that's me, trained in specialties, chemical dependency, behavioral health, when ready to break free from big pharmacy, me. Anti-psychiatrist and your holistic health coach. So yeah, basically I went from being super tearful and like sad that no one's supporting me to I'll do it my damn self. And so I did. So I created like my new treatment plan. I called it the Pharmaceutical Detox Program, and it consisted of three pillars. One is individual taper plans for each psychotropic substance the individual is on. Two is holistic approach nursing care plans for each symptom they're experiencing. And then three is a plant medicine microdosing practice to really break up that default mode network. Increasing BDNF neuroplasticity and new neural pathways. So I developed this. I was my first client to go through it. And then I started sharing it with others. I wrote a rap song about it, of course. And I started traveling to the nearest decriminalized area from Chicago, which was Ann Arbor, Michigan, and sharing this work with the rapping at the National Entheogenic Educational Collective, which was a convention that was meeting monthly. And through this, I started working with clients. And what that looked like for me was living in Chicago, underground coaching, microdose coaching, putting people through my pharmaceutical detox program, and holding macrodose ceremonies out of my house. So this was my early or beginning psychedelic work. And although I felt really good about the influence that I was making and the changes that I'm seeing in the people's lives that I'm working with, I also felt like terribly anxious, trying to do this type of work and to live this lifestyle and to be myself in an area where like my governing authorities could criminalize me and penalize me and possibly like incarcerate me just for being me, a healer.
Wow, you've shared so much here. So there's so much that I want to dig back into what you just went over. But thank you, first of all, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your personal experiences. It's not easy
Mm-hmm.
to share, your own trauma or your own experiences. First, I wanted to say that your pizza party comment is relatable to anyone who's worked in healthcare. I thought
Yeah.
that was so funny, and you're so right that 20% is not a number to be partying about. It is a failure of a system. And you mentioned that that the system, that the healthcare system is excluding a lot or limiting a lot of options for clients. And I might know what you're talking about, and some of our viewers might know what you're talking about, but some people don't know what you mean. So could you expand on some of the limiting or some of the options that are being excluded from healthcare?
Sure. I can also share like a personal story that I have a best friend who was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and that she had to find her own way in healing herself. And what that looked like was a lot of interventions that were effective for her, but not covered by her healthcare insurance. And it costs a lot of money for intravenous therapies, for intravenous ozone, for red light therapy and saunaing, and all of these things that have been even microdosing, meditation, sound healing, all of these things that she found really, really helpful and beneficial for her. None of them were covered by the healthcare insurance, despite all the overwhelming evidence that it's effective for the condition she's suffering with, and the multiple attempts to get it covered, they consistently said no. So this to me is like kind of gatekeeping all of this kind of subsection of alternative healing modalities such as IV ozone. This is extremely beneficial for those who can afford like $1,000 per session, which isn't the general population of working individuals in America. Typically, they go by what the healthcare insurance can cover. And I can tell you that, like, a 30-day prescription of a pain medicine to dull, numb, go away, get them functioning and back in society costs $2. But one 10-pass session of intravenous ozone can maybe 1,000.
Yes, yes, thank you. And I appreciate that you share it's not just these plant medicines that have been helping people, but it's really
Mm-hmm.
beyond that. There's a whole
Mm-hmm.
host of interventions that are not covered by insurance currently recognized in medicine. So, another thing I wanted to say is that I found it interesting that you mentioned your sexual trauma and how it was seen as
Mm-hmm.
something to be medicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that is a widespread problem that we see here in our culture and even the greater world, is that it's not really treating the root of the problem. It's more of
Right.
dulling and dimming and increasing the dissociation, and trying to get you to a state that is it's not quite a healing state. It's not helping recovery like you mentioned.
Right.
So I wanted
Right.
to know how did you discover plant medicine? You mentioned microdosing and hosting these sessions at your house. How did that begin? How did you go from breath work into learning about plant medicine in our culture where we're not educated on these topics?
So I looked for courses online that nurses could sign up for and ideally get continuing education credits. So I did find a psychedelic therapy course offered through the American Holistic Nurses Association. And I found a microdosing course through the San Francisco Psychedelic Society. And so I signed up for those. And I went through those courses to educate myself. In addition, I ordered tons of books, you know, all James Fadiman books and healing in with them pathogens and things like this to DMT spirit molecule, things like this to try and like educate myself because my brain, I have a nurse's brain. It's very much structured in like assessment, treatment planning, assessment type of thing. So I was constantly assessing myself and saying, okay, their interventions are ineffective. I'm still traumatized. I still need healing. And also, now I have a physical dependency problem. Like, this is not working. And I was really, really distraught and late night, like researching. And I remember I came across the MAPS website, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, and I found some clinical trials, and they were doing different psychedelics for treatment-resistant PTSD. And I remember the screen was like glowing at me, and I was like entranced by it. And I felt a very strong pull and draw. It was like visceral for me. And I just decided like I did a risk benefit analysis to go over the risks and the potential benefits of working with psychedelics. And I decided I'm going for it. Throwing a Hail Mary pass into the end zone, and I'm going for the touchdown, trying to really, really eliminate this distress and this illness, from my life.
When you get to a point where you don't know what to do and it seems like you really have to make something big change and something big happen, and that sounds like the point that you got to with all the different
Mm,
medications you were on. So
yep,
someone there is more likely to try, something new, something they haven't done
right.
before. Um, I also wanted to ask you about your music and your raps. You like to sing and make these poems, and I think it's cute and it's whimsical and fun, but it's also serious, and you address some serious topics with your music. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to hear more from you about how you write your songs and how you've shared your songs.
hmm I've written a collection of pieces, and I title it Journey to Self Love and Self Trust, as this actually was extremely therapeutic for me. It was like my own therapy, was just writing suicidal ideations, polymedicated, flatline. I mean, I got into it, and it was releasing, and it was reading it back, being like, this is kind of fuckery, and it does kind of rhyme. And I guess to kind of take the traumatic experiences, you know, and put them into a little rhythmy and rhymey flow, and like throw some humor into it, is therapeutic for me. And that is healing for me. And that's who I am. And that's me. That doesn't need to be everybody, but I'm a little bit extra like that.
Well, we appreciate your extraness here. So, can you tell us about the
Thanks.
first time you drank ayahuasca?
Yes. The first time I drank ayahuasca, I was laughing out loud, literally LOLing in my ceremony. And I was like, no way. Okay, come on, come on, come on. I had to grab like the translator in the ceremony, like, yo, come on, come on. I gotta tell them something. So we went up to the front where the medicine men and women were serving the medicine. And I was like, look, I gotta tell you something. I'm a healer. I'm a medicine woman. In my country, I'm referred to as a registered nurse. And I have worked with the top rated psychiatrists in all of the Midwest. And in 10 years of working with them, I never experienced the set and setting, this experience for the potential for true transformational change than I have with you guys in one night. So please see my heart, see that I'm a medicine woman, and teach me, because I need to know this medicine.
Where was this?
And
Where was this session?
this was here in Peru. Yeah, I was supposed to be here for 10 days.
And what
And
did
that
that
was,
turn into?
well, immediately after that ceremony, I canceled my flight home. I was like, no, I am staying. I am staying for as long as I can without facing legal repercussions. I'm staying as long as I can, and I'm learning this medicine. And that was the change of the new chapter of my life, the new life for me.
When was this?
This was about 4 years ago. This was about 4 years ago. So that was the first time I drank ayahuasca. I canceled my flight home. I'm supposed to be there for 10 days. I ended up staying for like 3 months, learning as much as I can. I went back to United States, and over that next year, the integration of those ayahuasca ceremonies really unfolded into my life. And approximately like on my 1 year anniversary of the first time I drank ayahuasca, I came back to Peru. And this time I came back. I sold all of my belongings. I sold my home that I had worked so hard to save a 20% down payment for. I sold my Toyota. It was so cool. I got rid of everything. I let it all go. And I left to come to Peru with nothing but 2 suitcases and a dream to figure it out.
That's amazing. And you've set up in Pisac, which is near Cusco, right?
Yes, it's in an area known as the Sacred Valley. And yeah, it's a beautiful area here. And at this point, I have completely devoted and dedicated my life to working with alternative healing modalities, plant medicines. And I've spent like 3 years here now. I've been here for 3 years. And if my life was a reality TV show, which one day it might be, so stay tuned. But then right now, a montage would play of all of the like funky places that I've slept since I have arrived, since I've moved to Peru. I mean, a lot of floors, countless floors, floors of ceremonial spaces, teepees, tree houses, hammocks, huts in jungles, malokas, and yeah, lots of floors. Just to study and to train and to learn as much as I can from the indigenous, like spiritual leaders that are here. I lived and worked with curanderos, harvesting plants, making medicine, serving medicine, learning energetic healing techniques, and then with my nursing brain, starting to put together treatment plans of how we can holistically approach illness, disease, utilizing holistic interventions, nursing assessments, and plant medicines all together.
That's amazing. Do you still have contact with the first curanderos you sat in ceremony with?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So about 1 year ago, I founded my center. So I have my practice and my center here in Pisac, Peru. And I took over a retreat property and I have a biohacking retreat and wellness center here, Casa Holistica, where we combine the best of Western medicine without the corruption, nursing interventions, nursing assessments, neuroscience with the ancient wisdom of plant medicines, energy, and spiritual healing. So, yes, I have a full medical clinic with intravenous therapies. I have the #1 ozone machine in the world, imported from Germany, made from the man who developed the 10 pass session. Yes, I got intravenous vitamins, nutrients, minerals. I have QEEG, brain mapping, neurofeedback training, hyperbaric chamber. Yes, I have all those. Full medical clinic. And also, I have somatic therapies. We got that hypnotherapy. We got that Akashic records healing, the body wisdom work, the breath work, the sound healing, all of that. And in addition, we have plant medicines that grow naturally here in the Peruvian ecosystem. We have Wachuma microdoses. We work with healers that come from the high mountains Andes or the jungle with their healings and their medicines, ayahuasca, DMT changa, 5-MeO DMT.
Amanda, we had a connection error or an issue. You cut out for just a moment. That's okay. Do you use your nursing license in Peru? Are you licensed in Peru?
Do I use my nursing license?
Yes, like
Is
do
that
you
what you
have
said?
to have your nursing license in Peru to do the work that you do?
Yes, I have my nursing license valid from the United States and have, there's like a legal process to submit the transcripts and the degree and the license here to obtain a Peruvian permit to
Oh,
operate in
well.
this way.
You have a very unique setup. I don't know anyone else who has quite what you offer. Um, it's really quite interesting. How many people are you able to serve each year?
Um, well, I'm really equipped to take on a significant amount of clients. What I really need is additional hands of nurses to walk this path with me and to work alongside of me. So that's what I'm really recruiting right now are nurses who feel aligned with this work and with this practice and with this healing center. Because with the more nurses that I have around me, with a team that we can operate as, then we can serve and we can reach even more people. So where I am is really great because I have the full medical clinic here and I have room and accommodation for myself and my nursing team. And in the other house on the property, we have 6 private rooms that we can rent out for our guests to make retreats, for our clients who want to work with us. And we have a full ceremony space and a large garden
Wow,
here.
that's truly amazing. Do you have any pictures of your location, or should we just go to your website to see your location?
Yes, I have amazing pictures and an amazing website. It's near publication, casaHolisticaperu.com. Will be published soon,
I
so
shared
stay tuned.
your Casa Holistica, the Facebook page in the comments here, so in the chat. So if people want to
Mhm.
click on it and check it out, I'm sure you got some pictures on there. Do you serve
Yeah.
any of the local Peruvians, or do most of your clients fly in to see you?
Both. Both. We have like a model so that we can serve the local at a discounted rate, or at times, if we can, and it's very aligned, at a pro bono. We do have a profit model for that, and that is one of the things that I'm really passionate about, and look forward to doing with my team of nurses that come down to work with me is doing free health screening for the locals and putting on community events. These have been really, really appreciated by the local community when I have done things. Very much appreciated, and it's really, really good. Aini, that's a Quechua word. It's like reciprocation, reciprocity. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So you've built a great a great connection or relationship with the community there.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, you had mentioned to me before we hopped on this meeting that you were writing a
Mhm.
book. Can you share some of your book?
Yeah. So, the nursing drug handbook and how impactful and important it is to nurses. I remember this was taught to me as the Bible for nurses and was in every break room at every hospital I worked at. And it has a wealth of information in a really clearly formatted and structured way that is nursing language for every pharmaceutical medicine that exists, but not for plant medicines. So I've been looking for this type of book, and I couldn't find it. So I decided I had to write it. And so I am writing the Nursing Psychedelic Handbook. And as a free gift to all of the viewers who tune in today or watching it on the replay, I have a gift for you. And I invite you to go to nursingpsychedelichandbook.com and enter your email address, and then your ayahuasca entry of this nursing psychedelic handbook will be emailed to you. And this is on the sacred entheogenic plant of ayahuasca, taught in the nurse's language that we know and understand. Mechanism of action, interactions, nursing considerations, patient education. It's all covered and easily accessible to you. All you need to do is go to nursingpsychedelichandbook.com and enter your email address. You'll receive the free gift. And in addition, you'll be signed up for my newsletter so that you can keep up to date for all of the opportunities that I am creating for the nursing team and a way to apply for them. In addition to the all of the information on the upcoming retreat that I am creating for nurses, created by a nurse for nurses. And this will be in October. And this retreat will be in these, it'll encompass all of the following. Is that first, I will educate and present and teach on the plant medicine we will be working with, example, ayahuasca, in the nursing drug handbook formula, so that we understand in the nurse's language. Then I will turn it over to my collaborative partner who will educate on the ancestral, the ceremonial, the spiritual aspects of the plant medicine. Then the nurses will get to make the medicine with by themselves, their own hands. They will touch the San Pedro cactus. They will cut the San Pedro cactus. They will cook it. They will smash the ayahuasca vine, like cook it. And then we will take the medicine together as a group. And that is the nurses retreat that will be launching in October.
Wow, that's really cool. You have an application for this retreat, correct?
I have an application for the nurse roles that I'm looking to fill, because I am calling in nurses who are aligned with my center and my vision and want to come walk this path and work beside me. And for those, I have a job description and an application form so that they can come work with me.
Awesome. Very cool. Are there any type clients that your center refuses to see or help?
Um, uh,
Like what if is there any person you can think of and you would say, you're not really a good fit for us, maybe go somewhere else, or you would refer out?
no, not anyone in particular. I can say that we do a pre like kind of like a pre-admission screening, a pre-admission call, and we go through and we connect to see if it is an aligned and good fit. And typically what we're looking for, I mean, I think most people like who are seeking and dedicated to their own healing, that's a good fit. You know, the one thing that I'm not going to do is work harder towards someone's wellness than they are. You know, I want to meet them halfway and I want to see them making the effort towards their own health and healing, and then I can too. Um, and I guess if someone just really is like in a totally different place in their life and doesn't believe in the holistic interventions or the plant medicines or the approach that I offer, then it probably isn't going to be a good fit and they're probably not going to respond as well. But, for those who are really feeling aligned and really feeling called and really feeling like committed and really feeling failed by the healthcare system and the traditional model, and really feeling called to pursue alternative healing modalities and really feeling called to being guided in a safe and therapeutic way to plant medicines, then those are the people who are a good fit.
Awesome. Have you ever had any safety issues come up during ceremony, whether someone, became unruly or suicidal or homicidal? How would you handle a situation like that? And at what point, would you have to get like hospital help or send them somewhere else?
Oh man. I mean, no, it's definitely not got.
Oh no, we lost Amanda. Come back. We'll give her a moment to reconnect here. It sounds like her center is very supportive and she doesn't have many safety issues there, which is fantastic. That's what you want to hear. Oh, we lost Amanda. Maybe she'll rejoin our room here shortly. Oh, here she
I
is. Welcome back. It sounded like you didn't have any safety issues at your center, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, mild, just very mild things. But
Awesome.
I think it really goes to speak for the screening that we do, the preparation that we do. We ensure to connect with everyone and provide them with adequate preparation to ensure that they're safe to sit plant medicine and that they're in a good place to. That is definitely the greatest mitigator that you can do for any potential risk.
Awesome. Very good. Can you tell us some about your neuroscientific research with ayahuasca?
Mm, yes. So, Um, I have a very dear friend and professional colleague and neuroscience teacher, Luke Jensen, who has found his own path to healing as a military veteran who was at one time disabled from his PTSD to now CEO and founder of Neural Enlightenment, and he's found a really really beautiful like sweet spot of healing combining neuroscience with ayahuasca, specifically QEEG brain mapping, neurofeedback training with ayahuasca. And so we've partnered, and what we are doing is we are doing the QEEG brain maps before and after ayahuasca retreats and creating comparison analysis. And we're doing this for a couple of reasons, and we're seeing a couple different things. So I'd actually love to show. Well, first, let me talk about it a little bit, what we know from the neuroscientific effects of ayahuasca on the brain. So, what we know is that there are beta carbolines and that these stimulate adult neurogenesis. They increase neuronal stem cell proliferation, especially in the hippocampus. And this is where memory, learning, and emotional processing and regulation takes place. So, what this means and what we're learning and seeing is that it, ayahuasca kind of like turns on the brain's natural repair and growth abilities. It supports the creation of new neurons, brain cells, and it helps the cells to grow, move to where they're needed, and mature. So, this is helping the brain to become more adaptable, resilient, and capable of change, which, like any holistic health coach will tell you, is step one when trying to work with a patient or a client to like change behaviors. First step is to put the brain in a place that it's able to change. And this is what we're seeing. I've never seen this with pharmaceutical medicines. Okay, pharmaceutical medicines don't work in this way, but we are seeing this secondary to the beta carbolines that are found inside the plant medicines. And that is especially helps in areas of memory and emotional healing. I mean, which who doesn't need help with their memory and who doesn't need emotional healing? We all can use that. And so we're seeing these really profound effects on certain diagnoses and demographics that I witnessed as being really poorly understood and poorly healed within the healthcare system. So, one of those I would say is TBIs, and I'd love to share the screen if you can enable to share the screen. I'd love to share the screen and share a slide or share an image of a brain that I personally mapped and
Okay,
kind of
you should be able to share the screen.
okay. Uh, um, okay. Uh, okay. Here we go. So we're looking over here. Are you seeing this, Taylor?
I see your email.
No.
We're
Okay.
looking at your inbox, I think. Lots of
Okay.
plant medicine emails.
Are there Okay. Dang, I don't know how to share my screen.
Is it in an
How do I?
image?
Yeah, I have an image.
Can you share it in the chat box?
No, I don't know how to do that.
Um, so there's a chat over to the side. You can hit
Yeah,
file and share the file there.
I don't have it as a file,
Oh,
unfortunately. How do I get, what are you seeing now?
we're back to you.
You are?
Yes.
How come I can't see you guys? Okay. Um, Great. So I'm gonna share this image in the email newsletter. So make sure that you go to nursingpsychedelichandbook.com and enter your email, okay? Because I'm going to share this image that is profound. And I'm also going to share the two published papers that we have on this research and the documentary, as well as all of the opportunities to come get involved because I need to build science teams and have placement at different retreat centers that we are starting to partner with. So we're going through a rapid growth and expansion period, and we are using these QEEG brain maps in these comparison analysis to create the largest research database in the world of ayahuasca. And this is huge. This is the future. I truly believe that this research database will largely and greatly impact and influence how plant medicine and ayahuasca are seen and used within humanity in multiple disciplines. I'm very passionate about this, and I'm also looking for others. Like if what I'm saying also invokes some passion inside you, then I want you to come and apply to be a part of the team because we are working with Neural Enlightenment to create this largest research database in the world, and we need your help to come. And right now, we are partnered with retreat centers in Peru and Colombia with many future collaborations at additional retreat centers that we're looking into. And each retreat center, we need volunteers to come and live there, work there, take medicine, take brain maps, eat, healthy, clean meals every day, and like check in with the people who are going through the retreat. It's an amazing gig. It's so much fun, and it's directly contributing to this largest database in the world and the future of psychedelic medicine.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Amanda, for sharing. I could ask you questions for hours. Surely we'll have to have you back on someday. But I want to open up our last 10 minutes here to give everyone who's viewing a chance to ask questions.
Yeah.
I have a question. Taylor asked about this a little bit, but I wanted to dive a little bit more in as far as conditions that might not qualify them for your center. Are there any specific health conditions, not psychiatric per se, but physiological symptoms or conditions in which you might advise someone to not pursue this path?
Yeah, so our intake process is to first obtain the medical history and the list of medications, and then kind of compare it to what are the plant medicines that they are seeking, and kind of go through this way. And everyone's kind of an individual case. So I don't have like a list of exclusionary criteria. I have more of like a detective mindset of going in and identifying and obtaining all of the information and then going through each aspect and each layer and identifying any of the risks that may be there. And so once we can identify the risks that may be there, at the intersection of their medical conditions, medications, and the plant medicine, then we go into like, is it possible to mitigate these risks? Are there interventions that we can take if we know and have plenty of time before you come to work with the plant medicine? Can we mitigate? Can we intervene to get you to a place where you can safely sit with plant medicine? And then work with the client in that way to take those steps and prepare themselves holistically, prepare their body, prepare their mind, prepare themselves holistically to sit with plant medicines. And if we identify that there are like too many risks associated and we are unable to really mitigate these risks or find interventions for it, then we would have to open the discussion on, based on the risks at hand, we may not be recommending plant medicine at this time, and kind of look into what are other modalities that can support this person, and sometimes it's a lot to step into a macrodose journey, like full sensory, full immersion journey. And sometimes it is a lot easier to step into a microdosing journey. So that could be a potential, for an alternative approach. And we can start there.
Plus, you offer a lot of things that are not plant medicine, like your ozone and your other interventions that may be suitable for people with different conditions. Oh, that's very
Yeah.
interesting. Awesome.
Mhm.
Great question. Thank you.
I have
You
one
have
more
any more
question.
questions? Sure.
So, when I imagine that a lot of your clientele travel to you for a period of time, what is that period of time typically on average? And once they go back home, do you have continuing support services for the holistic healing aspect with supporting them not only with integration of the medicine that goes on beyond the initial treatment, but the a lot of the nervous system regulation that so many of us require constant training? Is there a ongoing support for that once someone gets back home?
Amazing question. I love this question. So the length of stay here really ranges anywhere from, it can be like 3 days to 3 months, truly. We have had 3 days and 3 months. And so it really can determine on what they are capable of staying for, what demands do they have in their schedule, how much time can they dedicate to this. That's probably the first question. And then how deep are they desiring to go? that will really determine the length of stay. And we can work with people within their parameters, right? And yes, of course, I love integration. It's super, super important to me. That's why I always incorporate and always have integrative events coming from my space, not just plant medicine, but also like art therapy and yoga and breath work, things of this nature. And have somatic therapists, extremely talented somatic therapists on my team who do work virtually with I focus mainly on plant medicine integration. That's the specialty role for myself. I have amazingly talented mindset coach who works virtually. She also does like virtual Reiki and Akashic record healing. And I have hypnotherapy, an amazingly talented hypnotherapist who works virtually and can continue that work with someone as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? We've got 4 minutes left in our time slot here. All right. Well, thank you so much, Amanda. We truly appreciate your time. We value your time. It was very informative, very exciting. I think a lot of people who listen to this are going to be interested and excited about everything you have going on. It's very infectious. Your passion for plant medicine is
Yeah. I
contagious.
hope so. I'm gonna infect you. Yes. And really what I want to say to everyone who's watching, and especially the nurses who are watching, is just the value that nursing really has as in this role, in this very expanding uh, psychedelic therapy and plant medicine, right? Is that nurses are so of value because we live in the intersection of science and sacred with having the bedside manners and ability to gain therapeutic rapport with clients, right? We are the bridge. Just as like in the hospital system, we are the bridge between the physician who speaks in all this medical terminology and doesn't know how to connect with people and the patient. We are the bridge between the medicine and the people. How does this medicine work? Who should take it and why? How to take it safely? This is the role and the value of nurses. It's completely unrealistic to expect a shaman from the jungle to bust out a blood pressure cuff and run a set of vitals on someone. That will never happen. It's completely unrealistic to expect them to have complete a past medical history and have a conversation about medications. That is the value that nurses have in this field of psychedelic therapy and plant medicine. And so I just want to say, if no one said this to you today, that you are valued, you are worthy to work in the psychedelic field, and you are appreciated. Nurses, I'm talking to you. If you haven't heard this today, now you have. Someone appreciates you. I do. And so that's why I'm really calling in the nurses who feel aligned to walk this path and work beside me. I really welcomed these aligned souls to my center and invite the nurses to my upcoming retreat.
Super. Thank you again so much, Amanda. And the appreciation and gratitude is returned back to you. So, again, thank you. And how can we contact you or find you if we want to know more in the future?
Definitely my follow my socials. My Instagram is Amanda Heals Dude. Also Casa Holistica Peru. On Facebook, I'm Amanda Rodrigo, and there I'm Casa Holistica Retreat and Wellness Center by Amanda Heals. And go to nursingpsychedelichandbook.com and sign up for the email newsletter because follow along for the ride. There's a lot more to come out, a lot more information, published studies, research, work, opportunities, and retreats.
All right, we'll be following you and can't wait to hear more in the future. Thanks again so much for joining us today. And this is Amanda Heels, everybody.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
I have one question or another question though.